Don John has chosen to express himself through film. Working as part of the Black and Asian video panel, he has just finished a documentary that is showing as part of a Southampton exhibition celebrating the Windrush anniversary.
The Black and Asian Video Panel is a group of black people in Southampton who decided to form an organisation that was really going to see if they could tackle the issue of the way in which black people were represented in the media in the South, and also perhaps the way in which black people were involved in the making of films. I mean, I think for many, many years we've been dissatisfied with the way in which black people have been portrayed in the media. So we thought we needed to actually do something about it, not just from the point of view of just criticising people, but perhaps having a go and actually trying to make film ourselves.
Shades of color, shades of skin.
This one's dedicated to the Shadism crew.
Some say what we need is a great big melting pot. That would solve the race problem overnight. Or would it? A recent report by the Policy Studies Institute reported that 2 out of 5 Caribbean children had a white parent. This has resulted in a significantly larger population of people who are on the surface white, but with a black heritage. The consequences of the complexions are a recipe either for confusion or indifference.
I'm black and I'm proud, a popular phrase in the 60s and 70s when black people of all complexions firmly declared their positions on identity. But was this declaration a superficial media campaign, a need for political solidarity, or a desire to reaffirm positive aspects of blackness?
The straighter your hair, the natural thing, then you're more white, so therefore you're more acceptable, and we do it to ourselves as well. The last 10 years I had wished and thought that God had actually hated me for some reason for making me so dark, because I felt that it was life would have been such easier, and I would have been accepted, and I would have been pretty, and all of those different issues if I wasn't so black. I just took it on board because there was an ethos that all black people could not be pretty anyway. When I hear stories of black children now scrubbing themselves to they need medical attention to become white, then you can understand how somebody can get to that stage.
Some people view it as, I've got a white woman on my arm. That means I've got somewhere. I've got a certain amount of acceptability.
The light-skinned black girl, it conforms much more to what society sees as the ideal type woman. If you're not going to choose a white woman, then yeah, you can take a light-skinned black girl whose skin is lighter, her facial features might be more Caucasian than a darker skinned black girl, and therefore, you know, you're looking good.
We're conditioned to see those people that are of a fairer complexion as being better, right? And also, those are the people that actually end up in positions of power. But what I want to know is why do some black people, right, of darker complexion, end up down at the pharmacy buying bits and pieces to make themselves of a paler complexion?
Southampton, England, 1997. A chemist found guilty of selling illegal skin lightening products to members of the local black and Asian communities. Surely there must be a demand, but why?
Shades of color, shades of skin.
Shadism, the politics of complexion. What does it mean? Well, from one point of view, it may depend on whether you find this image more attractive than, say, this image. Or from another point of view, whether you find this more attractive than this. Shadism is essentially the value we attach to people based on their complexion. And sometimes we as black people value other black people more because they're lighter skinned or darker skinned. There are times when we infect each other with these prejudices and pass them on to our children. Why are we as black people washing our dirty linen in public? Do we not have enough problems dealing with white people's racism without exposing divisions based on shades of blackness or whiteness, depending upon your point of view? When a black person chooses a partner based on their complexion, or a partner is chosen so that their children will not be too dark, are we witnessing personal preferences or some perverted expression of self-denial? Are we born with these feelings or taught the values we attach to different shades of black and white that make up our communities?
Their life chances, because obviously whoever you're going to marry is going to depend on what kind of lifestyle you're going to have.
Lighter skin you are, right, the prettier and the better and different you are. But it's not like that all over the place.
If you've got a fairer complexion, then you're more likely to marry a doctor or a professional person. Now that's going to give you a better lifestyle, so there's going to be an advantage for you.
Well, it's this old thing, isn't it, that the fairer you are, the more beautiful you are.
That's right.
Mothers look for the fair bride for their sons.
Especially in our communities, to be more marketable, to be more successful, then the fairer you are, the better chance you're going to have of achieving that.
As long as that continues, and I think as long as lighter skin is considered to be beautiful, and I can't see where that will stop, it will continue to be perpetuated, and I think that it will become problematic.
So what legacies of images do we have that have contributed to the perceptions that feed shadism? The sad reality is that there are many in the African, Asian and Caribbean communities who attach a greater value to lighter-skinned people and will go to extraordinary lengths to discourage those with darker complexions marrying into their families. Contemporary images of black people have been affected by the historical legacy of colonization and slavery, a time when black people were forced into involuntary sexual relationships with their white overseers, and where the products of such unions, lighter-skinned black people, were placed in positions of authority over darker people. Unfortunately, some aspects of that ideology had considerable influence on the culture of some black communities.
Just from my own experience, I can remember my sister, when I was younger, using like bleaching creams and everything else, and other women as well in Northampton.
So it is going to be more of an issue for women because they're expected to be more beautiful, and if light skin is a sign of beauty, then it is going to affect them more.
I never saw that with men. That doesn't mean it's automatically more of an issue for women, but that from my own experience and my earliest recollections, that's something that stands out quite a lot.
I definitely know there's that in my family. You know, the lighter skins were perceived as more attractive, and darker, which I was the darkest, as ugly in fact.
Their choice of partners, they won't go for a girl that's dark skin. She's too dark.
I mean, at first when I was younger, I perpetuated it myself by thinking my sisters were beautiful, more beautiful than I am because they were light-skinned.
Black women will say quite openly that they would not go for somebody who is dark-skinned because when they have children,
they'll be ugly.
They will be ugly, or they will have nappy hair.
I've heard this said, particularly by one of my brothers, saying that that he would never go out with a black woman.
Southampton, I feel, is quite a unique place because there are so many mixed race children, and they are all considered beautiful, and they're all in competition.
It's argued in some quarters that the dehumanising demands of the slave trade define the worst aspects of Shadism.
So, what are the contemporary images that contribute to and reinforce our notions of Shadism? What part does fashion, music and the media play in shaping the views of people and communities? And what are the consequences and effects of such exposure? A national black newspaper recently reported the story of a 25-year-old black woman who had been applying a large amount of skin lightening cream to her body for several months. She was quoted as saying, "In the end, my skin will be improved. I will look and feel so much better. This is the only way out for me."
The great pharaohs of the African-Egyptian civilization were many shades of black, and history has made little distinction between those of one complexion and those of another. And the different representations of the skin tones of Jesus Christ vary from one society to the next, according to the limitation of that society's imagination.
Shades of color, shades of skin. 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 Shades of color, shades of skin.